Welcome.
Welcome.
How are you?
Fine, and you?
I'm very well. How
Good.
are you? Where are you from?
I'm from Martinique,
Martinique? Yeah.
French island in the Caribbean.
Lovely. What's your
Yeah.
name?
My name is Julian.
Julian. Okay.
Yeah.
So Julian is with us today. So he did a TTC course with me. He is a professional yoga teacher now. So join his class. So we thought that we will make this video because in that way it's like a conversation. He also has some questions. So kind of when people ask me questions, I kind of give answers. So we have not prepared. Yes, prepared questions, but I didn't prepare answers. So we will see how it goes. Yeah.
Okay.
So how long you have been in India?
In India, 5 months. In Auroville, 4.
4. Where were you there the first month?
I was all over India.
All
In
over
Kerala,
Kerala.
in New Delhi.
Okay, super.
Traveling.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how do you feel of becoming a yoga teacher?
I feel good.
How do you feel?
Yeah, but I feel it's just the beginning of.
Of course. It's a 200 hours. It's like a seed, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Exactly.
after that you need to grow a tree, eh? It takes a lot of time, eh?
Actually, yesterday I was looking for the 300
Yeah.
TC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you-
So the questions are not in order. Huh? It's
Yeah,
like just like this.
Yeah.
And they are not here anymore. Why? But anyway, okay. So I remember them. So when you were a student
Yeah.
of yoga, you were a beginner.
Yeah.
There is some mistake
Yeah.
you should avoid.
Yeah.
And what are those mistakes?
Beginners of yoga or beginners of a yoga teacher? Beginners of yoga,
Yeah.
student of yoga. One of the important mistakes people have is to have a destination. Actually, yoga is for reaching a specific place. For example, so yoga is I am having a back issue, so I will go to yoga so that I will correct this back issue.
Ah.
Yeah. So there is an expectation that you come with an expectation. So as a beginner, as a learner, when you start anything with an expectation, if your yoga teacher or the course of yoga that you are taking is not getting you there, you are not happy. Yeah, because that is you come with an expectation and the expectation is not filled up. So as a beginner, I would assume that if you are not coming with an expectation, of course you have a back pain, you wanted to get rid of this back pain, but instead of coming with only one specific reason to come to the yoga, it could be like an overall health or health and development actually. So when you come up with an open mind with no expectation, so anything that comes out of this gives you happiness. So when you come with an expectation, if you don't get what you expected, maybe you're getting like many other things, but you're not getting what you're expected with. So in that case, you're not happy. And yoga is about always making you happy and making you evolve from that place. So as a beginner of yoga, you should not come to a yoga class or you should not start doing yoga with an expectation. Yeah, I think that will help you in the long run.
Okay. So you kind of answered the second question, who was what should you expect when you begin yoga? So
Yeah.
basically nothing.
Yeah, basically nothing. But for example, when I started doing yoga, it was actually I was doing yoga in Joy Community. So I came up. My beginning was in Europe, but in Auroville I started in Joy Community. My expectation was like I was farming with my friend, and then he was like, I'm going to this yoga class. Why don't you join? I was like, okay. There is one more thing to do because I had almost nothing to do. Almost 4 years ago, I was like, okay, let's go inside. And then when I come inside without almost no expectation, it was like a wow. I entered the class and I went into Elena's class and I was like, wow, this is exactly what I want to do with my life. Because after Europe, I don't know what to do with my life, so I moved here. I thought that I will go mostly into farming because I do some farming, but that was what my target was. But as soon as I saw yoga teachers thing, I was like, wow, this is what I want to do with my life. So in that way, your the doors and windows opens for you. Yeah. In that way, I'm happy. Almost people that I give yoga classes are a bit happy, of course. Yeah, and other things like this.
Good.
Yeah.
So when you practice and everything, you don't set objective.
Yeah.
You,
Yeah. Actually, you don't have a target every class. In this class, I need to reach there, because you can have an overall arch. The overall arch about yoga is two things. What are these two things?
union.
Union. Yeah. So union and balance. Yeah. One is union and balance. The second one is happiness. So this is like you wanted to balance your life and then also in that process you are bringing the happiness. So these are the two outcome of a yoga practice. So in that case, there is an overall destination. Yeah?
Yeah.
But not like a class wise destination is not there, or within 6 months I have to do this. For example, some people come to yoga class and then they were like, I have to do like a headstand within 2 classes, or they come up with an expectation that they want to do scorpion in a few months or something like that, in that way you are creating like a short term goal. And yoga is always never about short term goal. So I have been practicing yoga since 4 or 5, since like 7 years now, and people have been practicing yoga since 40 years. So what is their goal for them? Yeah. So every day, instead of setting up a short goal, the overall goal is the union, the balance that you wanted to bring in your life, and also the happiness that the balance gives you. So this is like an overall objective. But a short term, like you can say, okay, I wanted to bring my knee down. For example, I want to open my hips. So these are all like not an objective in a short term. For opening your hips, you really need to work for a really long time, actually, depending upon your physical condition, your mental condition, whether you are a man or a woman, whether you give childbirth, whether you're active person or a non-active person, and a lot of other things comes into play. So having a short-term objective kind of stops you, actually. It kind of, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So you will be like, if I didn't achieve this in 6 months, I will stop going to yoga, or you lose the motivation to do something like this. So you always think that, for example, after 10 years you will be able to do many asanas. Then what is the point? But that is when the balancing comes, the spiritual part of the journey starts. When your spiritual journey starts, there is no end to this. All life. We were discussing the other day that people who are in their 70s, 80s, they are doing yoga. So what is their end target? Yeah. So happiness one side, balance on the other side. This is how we should
Yeah,
go.
but it's hard for a beginner who doesn't know yoga.
Yeah.
They don't know what's mean but to be
Yeah,
balanced in
yeah,
life.
yeah,
So
of course.
when you, for example,
Me? Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
You think for you the goal is to be balanced and
Yeah.
happiness and
Yeah.
everything, but I don't know.
Yeah. See, that is where I was telling you, yoga is one of the Eastern tradition where the body is given as importance as the spiritual development. Yeah. Without a body, because if I'm not here, for example, if I'm sick, if I'm going to be in a hospital, we cannot have this conversation.
Yeah.
So this body is a healthy body is given as important as a spiritual mind. Yeah. So, for example, in your case, so the goal is to have a healthy body, to stretch the legs, for example. So these are all not goals. This is an outcome. This is the end result of a yoga practice. Yeah. So when you start yoga, when you say that I'm going to go there only to stretch my hamstrings, then you shorten it. You're limiting the scope of the yoga. Maybe you go there on that particular day, something was in the air because of the group dynamics, because of your teacher. You also get a spiritual mind opening, for example. But if you go with a physical target of I'm going to open my hamstring, or I'm going to open my this one, so you are limiting your stuff. So basically, you are, instead of going with a big cup, you are going with a small cup.
Yeah.
And yoga is like an ocean, like a big river. Let's take the example of river, because it's you can drink it. So instead of taking with a big cup, you are taking a small spoon. So in that case, as a beginner, I understand the problem, because maybe you come from a background where the spiritual knowledge is different, and so you can start yoga as a physical exercise, but just don't do with the limitation of only physical exercise. Yeah, keep your mind open for any experience that you can find. For example, if in the class people are doing pranayama, or people are doing a mantra chanting, for example. So this is maybe something that you have never done in your life, for example. When you hear something like this, you always take, this is nice. Instead of saying, when there is going to be a chanting mantra, I'm going to close my ears. So, in that way, you can start yoga as a physical form, and then you can slowly evolve. The evolution happens naturally. That doesn't mean that you have to become a Hindu, or that doesn't mean that you have to become a spiritual person, as in a religious person, because religion and spirituality is like two different words. Yeah. So in that case, yoga could be, I want to strengthen my body. That could be a target, for example. Like we were having few people who were like, they were really stretchable, they are very bendy, but they don't have the enough strength, like on the shoulders, for example, on the on the legs. So you can start in that way. Yeah, and then slowly you see that if you are doing one warrior, you are like in 1 second you are not there, for example. Oh, that's like a spiritual advancement,
Yeah, okay.
In that way you are. I would request not to limit yourself through expectations or yeah, it could be a physical practice.
Okay, good. So because this joined the question I wanted to ask.
Yeah.
I wanted to know if you can become more muscular
Yeah,
with yoga.
of course.
And okay, and the other thing is, but you told me you should not have expectation. If you can get to the split with yoga.
Yeah.
So me, I really want to do the split.
Yeah.
This is one of my dreams.
Yeah.
But you're telling me that when I practice yoga, I should not focus on that.
Yeah. So this is like what I'm going to tell is it may be a bit contradictory because in yoga and life everything is contradiction. Yeah, there is no one way to do it. Yeah. So for example, in your case, for example, this is your wish. Yeah, and physically for you it's possible for you to go there. If you have been practicing gymnasium from very young age, you could split without even thinking. Yeah. So your body has gone through a different stage. It has come to a place where the split is not an issue, is becoming an issue, for example. In that case, what you have to do, first you have to unlearn things. Your body has learned something and it reached and got stuck there. That means that you need to unlearn things. Unlearning things is like stretching your hamstrings, stretching your back, putting your spine in order. So other kind of things is the one that kind of unlearns your body so that your body can go into the side of splitting, in the and also as you practice and practice and practice, what happens is you become stronger and stronger. As I was mentioning in the class, there are 3 things that we do with the asana practice, which is stretch, strengthen and relax. The more you stretch, the more you relax, the more easy for you to split. Yeah. And the strengthening parts comes on the muscular part. Yeah. For example, you are not able to split not because you have a tight hamstring. You are not able to split because you don't have stronger glutes, like you don't have a muscular glutes, or like quads are not that much.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought it was because the muscle was so
So
tight.
tight. For a muscle to be tight, the other muscle should be weak. For a hamstring to be tight, that means that this is not doing its job of pulling the hamstring. So that means that this is weak. So by strengthening, you are bringing strength to your legs actually. So if you do all the 3 things at the same time, you will achieve it. You will achieve your goal. For example, in your case, in this particular case, it is one asana that you are looking for actually. But to reach that asana, you cannot do only splits every day. I will do only three asanas and it will be related to splits. No, you need to do many other things. Like for example, for strengthening the leg, for example, for the leg strengthening of the hamstrings, you can do Virabhadrasana 3 or Warrior 3, the lifting the legs, for example, side splits. So it's basically you don't use only 1 or 2 asanas to go to the split. It's also the target. But you are not doing only. I will do exercises only for split. I will only do Upavishta Konasana or something like that. You also do standing forward bend, for example. You also do sitting forward bend, Paschimottanasana. So if you see, the practice itself becomes holistic. So although your target is to split, you cannot just do one thing to go there actually. So you have to come up with a lot of asanas, lot of practices, so that you will be in a position to stretch, strength, and most importantly is relaxing. So
good
for
that
example,
you're telling me that, because the past 3 days I was focusing on the split
yeah,
and doing only the same exercise.
Yeah. So this is where you're limiting yourself. For example, your back was not strong enough to split. Even if you split, your perineum and your back should be strong, so that you can put your perineum directly into the mat. For example, if you are not strengthening your back, if you don't have enough core, for example, it's like a neatly stacked pyramid. If you touch one, it's not that one is moving, the whole body is realigning.
Okay.
Yeah. So if to realign, so this is why you cannot have one target. If you keep okay, I have a goal of my dream is to split, but I'm not going to go only one direction. I'm going to use all the tools in the basket. Yeah. So that I can use you can bring about the change in you.
Okay, I understand.
Yeah.
So
and to answer your other question, you can really become muscular with yoga. especially stronger yogas like Ashtanga, Vinyasa, and many things. I don't do normally any other gym as of now in the last 4 months, and I feel more muscular than any time of my life. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Please.
And we need to, as you said, if I want to do split,
Yeah.
I need to focus on other things than
Yeah.
my split.
Yeah.
So is it the same with yoga in general? Should a practitioner practice only one kind of yoga, or he must practice every kind of yoga?
Yeah. See, for me, you have noticed in our TTC that I introduced some other forms of yoga, which is not normally not related to what has been told, because there is no one red pill or blue pill that brings us happiness actually. So for some people, because I'm a young person, that means that I have to do stronger asanas like Ashtanga, Vinyasa, I have to do power yoga, and I have to do Kalaripayat, for example. For some people, the same can be reached by yin yoga or transformation yoga or nada yoga, whatever teachers were doing. So by introducing yourself to different schools of yoga, like we didn't had a chance to do Iyengar yoga, for example. By introducing yourself to different schools of yoga, you take the good of everything. Yeah. So for example, it is like I like to eat. I'm a typical Tamilian, no? I'm going to like to eat sambar and rice, for example. But sometimes I have a craving for a sandwich. See, for example, so that is something that you cannot get it in a sambar rice, like a Tamil food. Yeah? So in that case, it is okay to check every school, but stick to one main path. So, and also the evolution, for example, this year you will feel okay. For example, in my case, for the first 5 years, I was doing only hatha. The first I begin my yoga, first time ever was hot yoga, uh, and then I moved into hatha, and I stayed in hatha for 5 years, and then I found the right person to initiate me into Ashtanga Vinyasa, and I was able to develop faster with that one. 5 years ago, if somebody would have told me that I will be doing Ashtanga Vinyasa, I would have been like, ah ha ha. But you evolve. So which school you are taking today doesn't have to be for your entire life. So you can change as and when you go.
But at the same time, you can practice both.
Yes, both. See, for example, today morning I was supposed to do Ashtanga Vinyasa, but since I'm fasting, I was not able to do Ashtanga Vinyasa. It's physically impossible. So I just did a yin yoga.
Yeah.
So for me, last year, I can explain my experience. For example, last year, 2 days I went to Ashtanga Vinyasa, 2 days I went to Vinyasa, 1 day I went to Yin Yoga, and 1 day I practiced by myself, whatever style I call it. So in the same week, I had 4 different styles. So because it is not possible for me to find some schools, I didn't manage to do some schools. But if you have a possibility, I always suggest you to do minimum 2 types. One could be a yang type and one could be a yin type. Yeah. So you can always balance this. See, if you are doing Ashtanga Vinyasa, Hatha Yoga itself is a yin yoga. If you are doing a Hatha Yoga, yin yoga itself is a yin yoga. If you are doing yin yoga, then you have to do something bit stronger.
Yeah,
it doesn't mean that you have to do Ashtanga Vinyasa. You could do stronger stretches.
Okay.
Yeah.
Also, you can practice sports like martial art.
Yeah.
And do a relaxing yoga. Like yin yoga.
Yeah. See, in my case, for example, I practice 1.5 hours of Kalaripayat every day. So for me, that's my life. And also I practice Ashtanga during the day. So when I go in the evening, for example, when I'm going to go to my bed, I do a complete yin, like 5 minutes of holding every pose. I do the twists so that my body completely comes to relax, and then like this, I can go to sleep sometimes. Yeah?
Okay.
So playing sports should be fine when you do yoga. Actually, the yoga helps you to become better in your sports actually, because one, your concentration is there. You know how to concentrate. One, you are physically stronger, strengthened, and relaxed. So this is like a two steps that other people doesn't have. When you are playing a sports, people are only stretching, for example. Their mind is like, oh my goodness, how I'm going to do this. So mind is like so they are not relaxed. So when you do yoga, it also brings you a physical relaxation, mental relaxation. So you will be, for me personally, I like my combination of yoga and martial arts.
Okay. Yeah, for me, it's very good too. To complete the martial arts, you need to.
Yeah.
And when there are hard day, you need to practice, but you don't want to practice. What do you tell to yourself to go into yoga?
I always tell myself, Okay, this is one day that I'm going to laugh at myself, but I promise myself to go. This is where the discipline comes into play. So if you promise, because nobody is there to check you, no. Nobody. This is one of the problems that we have, because self discipline. If you don't have self discipline, for example, then it is not possible for you to follow anything, because there is not going to be a police or a teacher looking behind you asking you to do. So, for example, there are some days that is next to impossible for me to do anything that I want to do. Once in a blue moon, it is okay, but it cannot become a practice. Yeah, I use this 5-3-2-1, 5-4-3-2-1. Whenever I don't want to do anything, I count myself 5-4-3-2. When it's one, I jump out of my bed or jump out of whatever I'm doing. It's like I'm giving myself a physical push. So once I do this, nice. I already wake up, or I already doing things like I'm in my phone watching YouTube, and suddenly I feel that I need to go. So I will say, okay, I cannot stop the YouTube because it's not psychologically. Then I say 5-4-3-2-1, and, nice. And then I go out. So in that way, actually, this is something that I learned from YouTube. I think there is a person from US who is doing this. So it was helpful for me, and also I think self-discipline is something that we need. For me, if I don't have tattoos, if I'm going to tattoo myself, the first tattoo will be the word discipline, actually, because that is something we don't have, because in modern times everything is like, okay, if you don't do this, you can always do this. We are not used to discipline. When you're a yoga practitioner, when you're a martial arts practitioner, we know that we cannot be non-disciplined. Discipline is something that you need to have. Otherwise, you are going to hurt yourself and hurt others. So in that case, you have to think your responsibility for others. In that case, it is kind of possible, but there are days that is next to impossible. Because as I was telling, yoga is about living life. That means that you should stop going out, or you should not stop going out to this dinner. When you should not stop going out for a date or whatnot. Yeah, on that day, be a bit gentle on yourself. Do something, but at least do for 15 minutes per day. If it's not a full class, at least do something which looks like yoga, which feels like yoga. Yeah. In that case, so you have your mind also is like, okay, I did the yoga today, tick, so that you will not blame yourself, and put yourself through guilt. And then what happens once you skip, you go through guilt, and once a guilt in there, you don't care about it anymore. So, and this I will bring a Stoic philosophy. In Stoic philosophy, they say, one bad day does not define you. Yeah. So one day skipping of yoga, or one day skipping of yoga for 90 minutes is not going to make you. So in that case, but you need to take that, okay, one day is there, I'm wrong, and the next day you like as if the day didn't happen.
As if nothing happened.
Yeah. So in that case, like that, you can keep your rhythm going. Yeah.
Okay. When you practice yoga, when you do the asana, what do you think about? What are you looking for? I mean, the perfect breath, the perfect posture, or something else?
Yeah. So in asana, the most important thing is the breathing. Yeah. So what is asana as per Patanjali?
Something that is steady and comfortable.
Comfortable. Yeah. Stiram Sukham Asanam. Yeah. So as you rightly said in English, it's about stability and comfort. Yeah. So these are the two things that you have to look for asana. So stability you find by right alignment, and comfort you get by right breathing.
Okay.
So you need to have it's like a two-story. Sometimes it's easier to have easy breathing than the stability. Sometimes it's kind of moves, because we are like a lamp in a storm, like an open flame, like a candle in an open flame. So our mind and the body goes like this. Yeah. That's when the stability is not there. So for me, personally, I prefer the alignment takes kind of a secondary step, but the breathing takes the primary step.
So your brain focus on the
breathing. Yeah. In that way, I'm also going into a meditative state. Every asana, I would like to go into a meditative state. When your breath is steady, when your mind is steady, your physical body kind of follows it. So, and also in a hatha yoga, there is no such thing called a wrong pose. So you are doing something correct, but maybe you are not doing exactly what the teacher wants or you want. Yeah. But as you practice, it can go. But if you don't focus on the breath, then everything, it's like the primary mover, or the primary source of the steadiness. Yeah.
But that's difficult, because there is one position we were doing when you stand in one leg and you take the thumb,
low toe,
the toe of your other leg, and you bring your toe up and your leg up, and you try to
balance,
to be balanced.
If
I think about my breathing, I'm gonna fall.
See, so this is I agree with you. It looks like it is very difficult to to do things, to do these two things together. But if you really practice,
this is the goal.
So first relax on the breath. That's what I was telling. No, you don't have to do what your teacher is doing. You don't have to bring the leg up. You do let go of your toes. Just lift the legs up so that you really know where you're focusing on your breathing actually. So like that, you become stronger and stronger. And then your leg comes up, and then you will hold this. So holding the toes is not the target. The target is to have a steady breathe and steady yourself. And then the leg will automatically come up.
And there was one student with us that said, you must, when you go to a position, you must go 70% of the position, not to
stretch yourself.
So is it true, or?
Well, it's a physical education. Physical education target. I think Rebecca was answering this question actually. She doesn't know whether it's a 70%, 80% because she doesn't understand this. But as long as you feel comfortable in the stretching, the pain, when you have a pain sensation, the pain sensation should be part of the stretch actually. It should not be something that for me, if anything that you do, but it's like a pricking of a needle, that means that you're doing something wrong. Then you need to let go, back off a bit, let go, and then you can try to go there again. So 70-80% is like a sports analogy, which could be correct, which could not be correct. I cannot really evaluate it.
Don't
go 100% because your body is here because of some reason. For example, today I did a bicycling of 100 kilometers, for example. That means that I expect a strong, firm leg and everything. In that case, I'm not going to go for 100%. So that only you know, as a yoga practitioner, you know. So you try to go as much you can. And one day you did, before coming to the yoga class, you went to a Pilates or some sports stretching. So your legs are completely stretched. On the day you can stretch a bit more. On the day maybe you can go until 90-95%, you know. So there is always a bit of a difference. So instead of focusing on the percentage, I think it could be on an anatomical level. What he said was 100% correct. I would agree him. But on a yogic perspective, you always go to a place where you're always stretching plus the 10% extra. So that in that case you can talk about the percentage. Whatever is a normal stretch, if you feel good, a 10% extra. If you're not feeling good, just stay in your pain zone. Like a non-pain zone. Super.
Okay.
Finish.
Okay. Finish.
Very nice.
Or maybe I need to find my question.
Okay.
So if you want to say something before I finish.
Well, yes, we can.
Because I don't know where it is.
If you don't find it, it's okay.
And just I want to come back on something you said that is really true. So for the focus, because I came to your course because I wanted to have this straddle split, you know.
It didn't happen.
And it didn't happen, but I was having back pain. And this disappeared. So
you see. So if you come with only one target, and if it didn't happen by the end of the first week, you would have been like what is this class? The teacher is wrong. The course is wrong. This is wrong. That is wrong. But if you come with an open mind, open hearts, then there are things that you, and also for example, it kind of tells that your body is kind of realigning itself. So instead of going like this, maybe it started growing like this, and then with that alignment, maybe your legs will start opening up even more. So that is why I always tell people, have a holistic perspective about things, because you are young, people are young, people are wanted to feel young. So there are many people who wanted to fall in this category. So in that case, you are pushing yourself to live, because we are in this modern world. It's easy to be to have a silo lifestyle. That means it's easy to become an expert in only one thing. I'm an expert in, I don't know, I'm an expert in computer mobile phone technology. But at the same time, if you don't know how to cook food for yourself, and suddenly all the restaurants like in modern times stops, what is the purpose? You will drop dead, So you cannot you can be focused on one, but you need a lot of, like it's like a pyramid. So you need to strengthen the pyramid, strengthen the base, strengthen the third floor, fourth floor. the fifth floor automatically exists. You cannot have a fifth floor without a base, you know. So you prepare your base, and then everything comes up.
Okay.
Okay. Super. Thank you, Julian.
Thank you very much.
It's my pleasure to make this video for the benefit of you and for the benefit of my YouTube viewers. If you have any questions, you are welcome to ask me. And I don't know whether you are in YouTube or
not yet.
Not yet, but you will make at one point. One day, take your time, one day at a time. Super. Thank you, and have a very good time. Ciao, ciao.
Bye bye.
Thank you. Hi, it's a lot of fun, huh?
It's too perfect.